I hope you guys can hear me. I'm going to talk a little bit louder because the camera is kind of far back, but I just have it zoomed in right now. So I have a message for black women. I was doing eclipse research for my eclipse video that's coming up. But when I was researching, I noticed something, and I just felt strongly that the message applied to black women, that black women need to be especially careful right now. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. Okay, so on June 5th, 2020, there will be a lunar eclipse. So a lunar eclipse is whenever there is a full moon, and it's when that full moon is within 18 degrees of the North Node. That's how an eclipse happens, right? So the North Node represents a destiny point, and a full moon represents some type of culmination, right? So essentially what those two things mean together is that there's some type of fated event that is likely to happen. Eclipses often represent some sort of, eclipses often represent some sort of crisis, right? And so this eclipse coming up, it's going to be at 15 degrees, 34 minutes of Sagittarius. And on that exact degree, at 15 degrees, 34 minutes of Sagittarius, that exact degree is the fixed star Ras Al Gethi. So the fixed star Ras Al Gethi, it's one that causes great irritation, but especially great irritation with women, right? And so all fixed stars have the quality of 2 or more planets. For Ras, y'all, the police is over there, but I don't give a fuck. The fixed star Ras Al Gethi, oh my gosh, there's so much going on, I can't even record. Thank you, love you. She was loud as fuck. The lady. Yes, clearly I had the fucking camera out. I mean, damn. I'm gonna give a damn. Anyway. I can always edit this. So, the fixed star Ras Al Gethi has the qualities of the planets Saturn and Venus. So as y'all know, Saturn represents black people. It represents the color black. It represents anything that's named after anything black, that's Saturnian. It represents oppression, strife, you know, those are things that are heavily associated with black people, you know, having to be twice as good, etc. And I'm going to do a video about all the reasons why Saturn represents black people and etc. But anyway, and then it also has the qualities of Venus, which traditionally represents women, so black women. And so like I said, the star Ras Al Gethi, it causes great irritation, but especially with women. And so since it has the qualities of Saturn and Venus, this shows great irritation with black women, right? And since this is an eclipse, that brings a crisis. So crisis for black women, great irritation with black women in a way that is very crisis oriented. Now there are 2 police cars. But anyway, well, let me finish this. It's not gonna take long. Okay. So this eclipse being conjunct the fixed star, it makes people really touchy, really aggravated. And this eclipse is going to be exactly square Mars. So y'all know Mars is hostility, it's war, it's violence, it's aggression. And Mars represents a lot of other things too, but I'm focusing on those because of the climate that we're currently in right now in America and really around the world. So with this exact square to Mars, so an exaction means that everything is amplified. So like if I was to come closer, like this, I'm exactly in front of the camera. You can see my exact face. It's amplified. So think of that when you're thinking about exactions as far as aspects go. So, eclipse, crisis, conjunct star Ras Al Gethi, aggravation towards women, specifically black women in my opinion. Exactly square. Square represents tension and difficulties. Mars. So I think this is a time where black women need to really, you know, watch who they're around, watch what's going around. If you're going to a protest, you need to make sure you use your strength wisely. I would not recommend provoking if you don't have to. Things can get ugly really fast. Be trained and be prepared. If you're going to go to a protest, be prepared. Have the milk, have the goggles, have the mask. Do what you need to do to be prepared. You know, be ready to fight if you're going to go to a protest. You know, if you're going to be out there on the front lines, you know, and this isn't, I'm not saying that something is going to happen to every black woman, but you know, you gotta be ready. You know, you gotta be ready. And if you're not going to a protest, or even if you are going to a protest still, this can happen for other parts of our lives. In other parts of our lives, we might have to get ready to fight a little bit. Somebody's gonna want to tussle. Somebody can be very irritated with us right now. So this is just my message to y'all that after June 5th, 2020, for really, it's going to be most pronounced for the next few weeks. But the energy of this eclipse usually lasts for about 6 months. But it's going to be most pronounced for about the next few weeks, okay? You guys just got to be careful. You got to be aware. You got to be smart. And, you know, I know black women, we're always talking, people are always talking about how strong we are. Always going to be strong black women. We can never be vulnerable, you know. But this is the time to be strong. This is the time to really showcase who we are and the strength that we have. All right. So I appreciate y'all for watching. And I really hope this gives you some insight.